Dragon Riders, Kaze no Kaeru, by Night Dragon 0. Night Slice's perspective. I practically jumped up, startled. What was that? That had been a strange dream. I couldn't remember much of it, but it had been something like a human fighting against a dragon. There had been voices, but I couldn't seem to remember a word. I shrugged. It had just been a dream, after all. I'd had some of those related to my past, but I was thankful that this one seemed like a completely random one. I glanced around the dimmed Pokemon Center, noticing Ashura, Luminar, and Riptide all fast asleep. However, someone was missing. "Hazuki?" I called. "Back here!" Her voice came from one of the rooms behind the empty service counter. I walked through the door to find the local nurse beside Hazuki as she examined the control panel of a conveyor belt. "I just heard Nurse Joy having problems with this conveyor belt and decided to give her a hand," Hazuki said as she slid under the machine. "And you're sure you know what you're doing?" I questioned. As if on cue, the mechanism roared to life. "Wow, thank you so much!" the nurse cried happily. "They can never seem to get this whole thing working, and you got it in one go." "You know why?" she grinned. "I think the electricians of yours forgot to set the..." The young girl launched into a very long and detailed technical report of which I barely understood a word. My jaws practically hit the floor, but I pulled up a chair and sat down at the near table to the doorway. Geez, she is good at something, I realized, yawning. Almost immediately, I fell asleep leaning against the table. Jade's perspective. Firestorm had gotten a rather large shock out of our discovery, so we let him leave and get some rest. My Uncle Blaine, Agwal, and myself sat down in the lab discussing the situation. As hard as I tried, I could not recall any incident that any Charizard's blood had come in contact with mine. I hadn't been with Firestorm for long enough to confirm anything about him, though. "Is there any way else?" Agwal was asking. "Mechanical, electrical, or other means?" In theory, a specifically configured electronic device could possibly transfer and mix DNA without need for physical contact, Blaine said, after thinking for a while. "I've heard rumors that a researcher named Bill once accidentally scrambled his DNA with a Pokemon's, but it's unconfirmed." "Electronic device?" I muttered. "You know I wouldn't willingly step into any unknown device except..." I stopped short. "Except that teleporter back in the Silph Company building. Firestorm was right next to me then." "Teleporter?" Agwal asked. "Silph Company?" Blaine queried. "Did you by any chance have anything to do with that explosion in the building a couple months back?" I slapped my head, swearing. "Guess I have some explaining to do." I sighed as Dracia opened the door and entered the room. That was when we heard the explosion, as much as I felt it. It knocked us all down, causing everyone to start yelling at once until Blaine clapped his hands to get everybody's attention. "That was no natural explosion," he said grimly. "How do you know?" I asked. "You work with those volcanoes as long as I have, and you'll know. I have to check it out." Grabbing his coat, the gym leader raced through the back door of his lab and along the dirt path leading up the volcano. "He sure runs fast for an old man," Agwal commented. "Should we go after him?" "Definitely," I nodded, throwing a cloak over my shoulders to hide my wings. "Dracia, you go get the other Pokemon and have them meet us there." "Consider it done," the Dragonair nodded. "You be careful." "Don't worry." I gave a thumbs up, pulling the gloves over my partial hands/claws. "Unfortunately, I have a very bad feeling about this." Firestorm's perspective. All of a sudden, I was flying up in the air. I blinked, realizing I was back in my own Charizard body. Disorientated, I scanned the surroundings, wondering if they had even been real. That had definitely been my dream, but what was I doing? Sleep flying? Fortunately, I was still above Cinnabar Island and recognized one of the volcanoes. Otherwise, how did I end up here? In front of my eyes, an explosion abruptly blew open the volcano. I shielded my eyes, realizing it was no natural eruption. My friends need help? Jade? I had to trust my instincts on this one. Folding my wings, I aimed my nose down and began to descend. Jade's perspective. Running at lower ground, it was purely by chance that I happened to look up and spot the threat that was approaching from above. "Get down!" I yelled, tackling my companions. That narrowly allowed us to avoid the miniature missiles that exploded in front of us. "What the hell was that?" Blaine yelled. I squinted hard to make out two flying shapes, a Fearow and a Pidgeot, with metal sections of their wings glittering in the dim light. Stormwind and Firefly, I assume. Dracia's voice came from behind. Behind her were the rest of the Pokemon, Erges, Mirage, Serac, Magmar, and Wartortle. Firestorm wasn't there. He must have gone out for a flight or something. Damn, you're never around when we really need you, Storm, I muttered. Now that Alucard's goons are here. Heads up, Ogwell warned. Here they come again. Everyone, attack! I ordered. 2 fire blasts, 1 thunderbolt, 1 ice beam, 1 dragon rage, and a hydro pump were fired off at once. Unfortunately, none of the attacks hit their mark. The birds were too swift. Scatter! Blaine shouted. Our party took off in different directions as the birds dropped another round of missiles. I hit the ground beside Dracia and covered my head. Is everyone alright? Ogwell asked, pulling himself up. Sarek was by his side, as always. Yeah, functional, I muttered, pulling myself to my knees. Magmar was helping Blaine up as well. Ow, I think they got me, Wartortle moaned. The turtle Pokemon was bleeding at his right foot, having gotten hit by a piece of shrapnel. He was being supported by Urgez and Mirage. Jade, leave those 2 to us. You take some Pokemon and get to the volcano and find out what's going on up there, Ogwell suggested. He tore his sleeve and used it to bandage Wartortle's wound. Be careful up there, Blaine warned, as Magmar fired another attack to drive the birds away. I'll stay too, Urgez nodded. Someone needs to look after Wartortle, and besides, my electricity can give those birds a real sting. Thanks, buddy, Wartortle smiled. I owe you. Make sure you kick whoever's ass is in my volcano, Magmar roared. Alrighty then, I agreed. Be careful, guys. Mirage, let's ride. Already on that. The Ponyta pulled up beside us and helped me onto her back. With Dracia hovering beside us, we tore off along the path. Behind us, the flashes of energy beams being thrown into the sky lit up the sky like a fireworks display. Unfortunately, it was impossible to tell which side was winning. You know, Jade, you actually understood us back there, Mirage panted. Not usual of you. Oh god, you're right! I'm becoming more of a Charizard by the minute, I realized. At least you wouldn't be, well, half-half anymore, Dracia said, attempting to comfort me. The pathway led to a cave, which in turn led to the center of the volcano. Blaine used many areas like this for training his fire Pokemon. The area around the crater was basically a circular well leading down to the lava below. There were only 2 ledges, one being across from me, with multiple pillars that acted as stepping stones between them. However, what was more interesting was the battle currently taking place. One of the aerial combatants was Firestorm, easily recognizable in the orange glow by the metal mask on the left part of his face. The other was standing on one of the higher pillars. Although covered by a brown cloak with a hood, I felt he was frighteningly familiar. For the last time, where is Night Slice? The cloaked figure demanded. Why did you think I have any reason to tell you now? Firestorm roared. Because I'm not going to ask again. Firestorm's opponent had his back turned to me. Gesturing for my Pokemon to wait, I ran along the ledge. Clenching a fist, I saw it glow with a fiery color. With a yell, I fired off a fire burst at the cloaked figure. Although caught by surprise, he still managed to evade the back attack. However, the cloak caught fire and he threw it off as he leapt away. Alucard! I heard Firestorm growl. My brain only registered it as he turned to face me. Our old enemy had changed. No longer was he the cyborg Scyther we once known. The red coloring and new features were clearly visible now. Alucard had evolved into a Scizor. I wasn't too sure what effects the evolution had on his mechanically enhanced body. It seemed to have healed some of his injuries, but not all, as he still had some cybernetic parts. Those immediately noticeable were a chestplate, helmet, and arm guard. He also had something strapped between his wings, which was either a jetpack, an item storage device, or both. The silver chestplate looked something like the sleeveless Kevlar vest with several blinking lights on it. The helmet was also silver and was worn over the upper part of his head, leaving the lower jaws exposed. A red visor over the eye selection served as his means of vision. The arm guard covered his lower right arm, ending before the pincer-like hands. This one was decorated in black and gray patterns. He actually looks pretty cool now, I thought. Then I saw him open his right pincer, revealing the barrel of a Gatling gun mounted within. Unfortunately, the bad guys always seem to have the better stuff. So, you're here too. I ran as he fired. My cloak accidentally got caught on a rock and was ripped off. Alucard was quite shocked when he saw my Charizard wings. What the hell? He gasped. I took the opportunity and threw another fireball at him. Ah! It got him square on the chest. While Alucard was thrown against the wall, his arm-mounted gun went off as well. The blast sent several sharp rocks flying, one of which smacked the side of my head. Stunned, I fell over the edge. "Jade, no!" Firestorm roared. "Fly! Quickly!" His voice seemed far away. If the others were yelling, I never heard them. It all happened so quickly that I never got the chance to think about using my wings. All I could see was the lava rushing up towards me. I closed my eyes. Suddenly, I felt the heat all around me. I couldn't breathe. The pain was incredible, and the temperature way over what I could take. I told myself that I didn't want to die this way. However, it seemed like my fate was sealed. This is the end, I thought. It ends only when you want it to. I heard a voice in my head. Who? I began. Do you wish to live? The voice continued. To fight again? And to save your friends? Complete the change, Jade. Only you can make it happen. Yes, I did. I felt different. The heat was dying away. No, it wasn't. It was me. I was now fully Charizard. I propelled myself upwards. It was time to kick some serious ass.